Excellent.
So, hello everyone. My name is Roy Susanna, and I'm a futurist and a researcher at the Yuval Ne'eman Workshop for Science, Technology and Security at Tel Aviv University. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to the Israel National Cyber Hour. Throughout the next hour, we'll hear a plethora of fascinating and, even more importantly, highly relevant lectures and presentations from the top professionals in the field in Israel. We'll uncover the Israeli government cyber perspective, learn about the thriving cyber entrepreneurship ecosystem in Israel, and be exposed to some of the more innovative
I'm checking it.
cyber startups that grew out of this ecosystem. But first, before all that, I would like to welcome the chairman of the Cyber Future Foundation, Mr. Valmirki Mukherjee, to open this session. Mr. Mukherjee, this floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Roy. This is excellent to see everyone and the leaders on this panel and this hour. We are really thrilled to have you all. In fact, without further ado, I'll turn it over to my friend Yaniv to run the session. But just about a quick opening word about CFF. We are a global platform of cybersecurity leaders, and in fact, I would drop the word cyber from there. I would say leaders, because that's the connection we are trying to make. We are trying to make sure that the cybersecurity leaders are connected to the non-cyber leaders, and from the top down, we make that informed, aware, and educated decision-making process enabled by your expertise. Because I think cybersecurity has been an expert's field, rightfully so. It's a difficult problem that we have to solve, but it is more important for us to simplify this, make it available for others to participate in this discussion. And also, cybersecurity is not a spectator sport. I cannot emphasize that part. I think it is an engaging journey. So all of us need to be part of that. And the more we simplify the message from top down, as well as from bottom up, grassroots, we will get better engagement and better appreciation and better acceptance of the cyber hygiene and the cyber innovation, as well as the cyber awareness that we need to make happen. I really welcome this team and of leaders and experts from Israel to show how the startup nation has taken on the leadership of in the cybersecurity industry. Yaniv, my good friend, has been leading the tip of the spear for CFF in Israel and has assembled this. So thank you, Yaniv, for bringing this illustrious panel together, and we look forward to your discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee. And now, please welcome CFF Israel National Cyber Hour Coordinator and General Manager of the Cyber Solution Group at Dell Technologies Corporation, Dr. Yaniv Arel. Dr. Arel, kindly regale us with your words of wisdom.
Great, thank you, Roy and Val, and welcome our audience from all over the world. When Val and myself had our last in-person meeting in February this year, we didn't know what is ahead of us in the following months. We didn't know, the world had no clue, and the cyber industry hasn't predicted this change. We have passed in 2 months part of the digital transformation that we thought will take about 5 years. And our modern world has succeeded quite impressively to move this work from home environment and to build quickly new architectures and had days to develop and implement. Imagine what would have happened if this thing would happen like 20 years ago. All of these caused, of course, new and dramatic cyber challenges. As part of these COVID-19 times, we have this year the CFF as a virtual conference. And this is our opportunity to be able to host you in Israel for the next hour. Usually, CFF invites us to the summit. For the next hour, we invite you to visit Israel. We condensed for this hour as much as possible to get the idea what is the cyber story of Israel, what is the industry, the government, the academy, the startups, and most important, the people. We hope you will enjoy, find it productive, and will have the appetite to explore more in the next available opportunity. Thank you and enjoy the event.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Orel. I would now like to invite Mr. Aviram Matzaba, Executive Director for International Cooperation at Israel's National Cyber Directorate, to tell us about Israel's cyber perspective and to add some excitement and risk to the event. To do that in just 10 minutes or less. Mr. Matzaba, the mic
Yeah.
is yours.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can see my presentation. So my name is Aviram Atzaba. I'm from the Israeli Cyber Directorate in Israel, and I'm responsible for the international cooperation. And I will try in a very short time to give you the government perspective on cybersecurity. INCD mission has two main pillars. The first one is defense. We are responsible to defend the Israeli civilian sector, starting from the government and the critical infrastructure, all the way to the private and public sectors, small, medium businesses, up to the man in the street. My mother and my daughter are part of the realm that we are responsible to secure. The second part is the leadership, is promoting Israel's posture as a world leader in cybersecurity. This means having excellent technology, having a state-of-the-art research in the academy, and having the right people to do cybersecurity. And those two missions work together. If you are very strong in defense, you can lead. And if you have very good technologies and very good people, you are more secure. A couple of months ago, we had a webinar that we hosted, and joined with us were Anne Neuberger from the NSA and Mr. Kieran Martin from the UK, and my General Director Igal Una and Professor Ben Israel all discussed what is critical when everything is critical. We changed the way we look at criticality. As you probably know, a couple of months ago, there was a cyber attack on the Israeli water infrastructure. Iranians tried to attack our infrastructure, but since our definition of what is critical within the water supply is very specific and very well protected, they only managed to impact very negligible facilities. So defining very good what is critical and making sure that it is very secure is one of the pillars of dealing with criticality. But the meaning of cyber critical is much broader. We had elections. Actually, we had 3 times elections during the last couple of years. And those elections were cyber secure. Those were the first time that we engage in cyber securing the election process to make sure that our democracy is not jeopardized by cyber attacks. This means totally new field of identifying the processes and making sure they are cyber secure. And of course, the COVID-19. During the last months, we are in this turmoil, and this is a turmoil also in the cyber realm. And as was said already, we change the way we work in cyber sphere, hence new risks, enhanced risks, and new ways of dealing with this risk. And the INCD was engaged during the last months with a lot of attacks that were related to COVID-19 and with securing a lot of processes and establishments that are related to fighting this epidemic. So the challenge, how to find the needle within this haystack. You know, traditionally we do it like this, and we try to find where are the opponents and where are they trying to come from and what are they doing, and how do we move to a more innovative way, a more effective and productive way. A few perspectives on this. First of all, market security we regard multi-security 360 degrees. Doing a joint venture with different regulators, like here the environmental protection regulator, to make sure that the regulator issues cybersecurity regulation which is effective to their specific sector. Working with CEOs, executives, board of directors, for them to understand that it is their problem. Once they understand it, you have 50% of the solution. Work on building the professionalism for the CISOs and for the cyber professionals. And of course, working with the broad market. Everybody is a supplier for everybody and a customer for everybody. So there is a very tight network, and we have to make sure that the basic hygiene for our whole market is at least on the level that we, the INCD, think is adequate. So a lot of effort and a lot of collaboration with different entities within our market to make sure that our market is secure. Manpower. We are looking at our manpower from preschool through the high school, the military service, the workforce, up to the research and development in the academy. And for each one of those stages, we have specific plans in joint venture with our different government entities like the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Labor, and of course the academy, to make sure that we develop the right quantity and the right quality of professionals for today and for the next years to come. Because this realm is all the time changing, the knowledge is changing, the threats are changing. We have to make sure that our people, our manpower is professional. Bridging the gap. This is the bridge, an actual bridge in Beersheba. Beersheba is the cyber city of Israel. On one side, we have the university, the Ben Gurion University, with a very strong research center on cybersecurity. On the other side of the bridge, we have a cybersecurity campus that hosts the national CERT, hosts many cybersecurity companies, either it is small companies or startups, and also multinational corporations that have their research center situated in Beersheba. And adjoined to this park, we are building the IDF, the military IT base. So we will have in one place the government, the industry, the academy, and the military, all of them doing cybersecurity from development to research to fighting the actual attacks. Promoting industrial leadership. Those are the 150 cybersecurity companies that are hot according to this publication, 2019. As you see, Israel on the second place after the US. Actually, some of the US are also Israeli companies. And we are working very hard to make sure that those companies, and of course new companies, and some of the companies that you will see today, are state-of-the-art companies dealing with state-of-the-art challenges that the new technologies are coming on us. Innovation arenas. We have developed, and we are developing all the time more and more innovation arenas. This is the place that new technology for cybersecurity starts its first steps within the new technology, the actual technology. So cybersecurity for energy will be tested in an actual energy SOC, or 5G technology for securing 5G will be tested on a real 5G network. So once we come with the products to the market, they are mature, they are effective, and they will be more readily accepted in the market. Partnership. This is my deal. We are having relationship with more than 90 countries because cybersecurity is a global problem. The solutions are global, the knowledge is global, and the attackers are all around. So some of the countries do not have a relationship with Israel, diplomatic relationship, but they have cybersecurity relationship with Israel because we all face the same challenges and we benefit from this collaboration. Of course, we are also engaged with international organizations like the UN, the OECD, the WEF, and we are a vibrant player on those arenas too. So, in summary, we are taking the challenge and we are trying to look at it in an innovative way, both technology and people, making the best people and making the best technology to face the future challenges. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atzaba. It's great. And frankly, it's quite reassuring to see just how focused the Israeli government is both on cybersecurity and on keeping time. That was very impressive for a government representative, and I'm talking internationally. It is now time for us to host our first expert panel of this session. And we're going to focus on the ecosystem of cybersecurity efforts and investments in Israel. Now, Dr. Yaniv Arel, you remember him from before, will be our moderator, and he'll be joined on our virtual stage here by three panelists. Mrs. Nofar Amikam, partner at Glilot Capital Partners, Professor Yuval Elovich, director at Telecom Innovation Laboratories at Ben-Gurion University, and Mr. Lior Frenkel, CEO at Waterfall Security Solutions. Panelists, take it away.
Great. So it's really my pleasure to be here with this collection of three panelists, and you know we have time that we have spent together on cyber discussion, and I have questions that I could fill more than 2 hours in asking questions and get your feedback too. We will try to do it within our constraints here. So we have the 20 minutes. And I will ask to start and to have your kind of a quick introduction. Each one say please a few words about what you are doing when you are not participating in the CFF summit. Let's go by order here on this screen. So Lior, please start. We have to unmute you somehow.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. So thank you for having me here in this amazing panel, and I hope it'll be an interesting one. My name is Lior Frenkel. I'm the founder and CEO of Waterfall Security. We are an industrial cybersecurity company based out of Israel with a global outreach. We are developing and selling technologies that secure industrial control systems, production systems from online cyber attacks. Our customer base covers everything from nuclear power plants, offshore and onshore oil and gas facilities, transportation, railways, smart buildings, everything and everything in between. And it's very interesting to see how the market is changing during this year, and I'm sure we'll talk about it deeper in the panel.
Please, Yuval.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I'm Professor Yuval Elovich. I'm heading Cyber at BGU and also Telecom Innovation Laboratories. My main field of research is cybersecurity, and recently I'm focusing a lot on IoT security, on AI security, how to secure AI system, mainly from adversarial attacks. And my students are doing very, very innovative things that try to expose new type of attacks that nobody thinks that actually they exist.
Thank you. Nofar, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nofar. I'm a partner at Glilot Capital. Glilot Capital is one of Israel's leading cybersecurity VC. In fact, we've closed our 10th exit yesterday, which is very exciting. We are focused on early stage investments, early stage startups, and as I said, in cybersecurity mostly.
Great, thank you. I would like to start, and as in the right lessons, let's start with the professor to give us his opinion. We cannot start this panel these days without discussing the COVID-19 cyber effects. Would you like Yuval to start and to refer to this change, please?
Yes, doing research from home and communicating only from students when they are only working from home, it's really a big challenge. With students that are already working with us for a long period of time, it's relatively trivial because they know already what to work and they're just writing more papers. But when you have to include new team members, new students in your team, and you need to train them and to explain them what is research, what is doing research, how to collaborate with other students in the team, that's really very, very challenging. In addition, we are getting a lot of funding from many companies that are visiting us. And during the visits, we are describing a new research topic that may interest both us, the academia, and the specific industry that came to visit us. And now, obviously, there are less visits. But I would just want to mention one very particular event that happened to us, that once company came to us and they wanted to do a research urgently with us before the end of the year. So I try to understand what is the reason that they are so rushed in doing the research before the end of the year. So they told us that they have a huge amount of money left from travel money that they cannot spend this year. So they want maybe to convert it into research. So sometimes the good happen because of this plague.
Great. I would like Nofar to ask you the same about COVID-19, please.
Sure. So the professor gave the academic point of view. I'll share my point of view as an investor that works with startups. And at the beginning, we were a bit afraid. We were concerned about our companies. We were wondering if there is a budget freeze, because that's what we heard from a lot of CISOs that we work with. But we were relieved to see that specifically in cybersecurity, not only that there are more opportunities for the innovative cybersecurity startups that we work with, it was also a good opportunity for them to further explore their product market fit, because CISOs weren't traveling as often and they had time for feedback calls. So our startups basically just took the time to talk to those CISOs and made sure that the technologies that they're developing actually answered a pressing need in the market. And later on, we were really happy to see that the startups have generated revenues, increased revenues, maybe even more before the COVID, because of the ever-evolving cyber threats that unfortunately increased during the COVID.
Right, thank you. I would like to ask you, Lior, maybe let's go forward and ask if the COVID was over, what would have been the next important challenges of the cyber industry to address? We had challenges before and we have others running. So how you see this?
Yeah, well, naturally, first and foremost, we need to see how to get off all of the weight we gained. But put that aside, I think at least from our perspective, the threat that was on the rise and is still on the rise is industrial ransomware. Ransomware in general, and industrial ransomware, which is like a subset of that. We've seen it increase both in frequency and in the level of the demands and in the attackers dramatically in the last 2-3 years. I think there is some delay in a good way with the development of this threat, just because everything has changed, or a lot of things have changed, and these things affect bad guys too. They're not immune to the effect of COVID. And I think once it's over, or once the main issues of COVID-19 are over, I think we'll see this getting back in full speed. And I think companies that take this time to better prepare would be in a much better situation once things start to move again and become normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can add, from our the Cyber Solutions Group in Dell, that we interact with our customers, that at the moment you can talk with the customers mainly on the current, how I take care of my workforce, how I think about Wi-Fi at homes and access and authentication and this thing, but it's not that the priorities have changed forever. We see this, it's not the generic priority, just the kind of what is urgent to solve on these months, and I agree about the priorities. I would like Nufar to ask you, how could a concept or a new concept or technology be identified as promising in the cyber discipline? There are so many ideas, so many startups, you see so many every day, you have to make decisions to choose only few. How will you do this?
Yeah, so just in any technology vertical, to be honest, there is only one way of finding out if your technology really serves a need with a sense of urgency around it, which is a product market fit journey, right? You interview potential customers, you basically ask them if they cannot live without your technology, or if I'll remain on the positive side, if they're happy and they see the value, the economic value of your solution, and only if they are responding positively to your questions. But not only that, if they're willing to pay money for your solution and they use your solution often, and moreover are keen to become a reference customer, only then you know that there is a match between the technology that you've developed and the market need, and you know that that you're going to create an impact.
Right, thank you. Yeah, we are all familiar with passionate teams that they believe in the technology, but there is no business potential, and unfortunately, you cannot take it forward. I would like to ask you, Lior, when we combine critical needs and innovation, this is the name that we gave to the Israeli National Hour, what make a significant impact?
Excuse me,
yeah,
something.
Yeah, I will ask again. When we combine critical needs and innovation, what makes a significant impact by combining them?
Look, it's I'm taking Nofar's answer and taking it to a next level. I think it's related. Mm-hmm. Sometimes customers, they have critical needs, but they don't have a solution. There's something that really impairs their business or makes it hard to do or cost, but they don't perceive that it's something that you can fix. So in their minds, there's no problem. If you don't have a solution, you don't have a problem, in a sense. So the most significant thing is to find those big problems that customers have that they just don't believe you can solve. It's something that they are just not used to have a solution to. And if you do find a way, and that's where innovation comes in place, to fix that, to say, hey, you're doing this A, B, C, D all the time, but if you go that way or use this technology, or I have something that will give you
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yaniv?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So and again, I'm saying, I think the biggest impact you can bring to a customer or to a market is solving a problem that they just don't think there's a solution, and then when you succeed, you can see this click in their mind saying, oh, whoa, now we can do it better. So of course, going to a customer and asking them and saying, will this work for you, and getting an answer is important, and usually it helps you like identify, but sometimes when you ask them about needs, it's not enough. You need to show them a solution, so they'll say yes. Let's fix it with that. And you know, we've been doing this with Waterfall for a while now, and it's still a lot of fun meeting a customer that's not aware of like our type of technology and explaining it to him, and then you see their eyes open and say, oh, how could we live before, you know, how could we work before we without this type of technology. And it.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great. So something happens here. We'll solve it in a minute. I would like to ask you, Yuval, what do you think? I mean, how you see the academia role and potential contribution to the cyber challenges?
I think that the academia is two roles. The first role is to raise awareness about new types of vulnerabilities and potential attacks, even before they happen in the real world, in order to stimulate the creation of new solutions that is going to solve them. Give you an example from a recent work done by my students, when they demonstrated that semi-autonomous vehicles, or ADAS in general, are susceptible to what we call phantom attacks. When you, for example, you project a human figure on the streets and the car actually stops. Or when you are projecting a traffic light on a tree and actually it influences the behavior of the car. Or even if you are embedding in an advertisement of a digital billboard, you, for example, embed a stop sign and the car sees that even if it's a split of a second and it's stopping. This is a new type of attacks that calls for cybersecurity solutions. So first of all, the goal of the academia is to raise awareness about new type of attacks that needs to be addressed before the bad guys actually employ them in a wide range. The second goal of the academia is to try to employ new scientific tools to solve a particular problem. For example, the academia was the first, was actually happened, I think, 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, when the academia found the potential of machine learning to address cybersecurity problems. Because in the past, 30 years ago, we focused only on cryptography as the main tool to implement a cybersecurity solution. And today, we see that machine learning and even deep learning techniques are playing a bigger role in trying to create new cybersecurity tools. Again, the academia is open for embracing new mathematical tools that can be used to address cybersecurity solutions. And the third role is, of course, to create more experts, more graduate students or undergraduate students that are aware about the need for cybersecurity, and they can later on go open companies or work in cybersecurity companies.
Great, thank you. We can say Roy and myself are partners in the Cyber Center also of Tel Aviv University, in which we try to add also the interdisciplinary aspect of cyber, also researches about financial aspects, psychological aspects, and others that really complement your perspective. So yeah, really can identify with every word. I would like to ask you, maybe Nofar, we are at the Israeli National Hour, and for you, according to your opinion, what are the main and unique values that Israel brings to the cyber global arena?
You know, at the end, it's a mixture of values that creates this secret sauce that we call the cybersecurity Israeli ecosystem. But if I have to mention a few values, so first, I think that Israel is really good in creating talent that knows how to work hard and be curious and fearless, what we call chutzpah, right? And the reason or the ecosystem that supports those talents consists of the IDF, which is, I think, considered to be one of the best or the leading cybersecurity schools out there. Not to mention that the young people that serve in the IDF and the cybersecurity units gain practical experience at a very early age. It's also the schools and the universities that adopt and support cybersecurity practices. It's also the investors that are very active in Israel because they too grew up. I, for example, served in the 8200 unit, so we too grew up in the ecosystem and we really understand cybersecurity. But at the end of the day, it's really the ecosystem. It's a hyper-connected ecosystem where everyone supports each other. And I'll give you an example from a few weeks ago, which I think really demonstrated well. So an investor has heard about a talented officer in one of the cybersecurity units in the IDF who's about to, get released, and he's thinking of his next venture. So he reaches out to this guy and he's like, okay, are you looking to found a startup? And he says, you know what? Yes. This investor, true story, by the way, this investor, one of our managing founders and partners, said, you know what? I'll introduce you to one of our cybersecurity portfolio companies so that you can gain experience. So this guy joins one of the portfolio companies. He works for them for a while, understands what it means to work in a startup. And a few months later, he co-founds his own startup. And this investor, us actually, we invested in his company. So there's an entire ecosystem where the entrepreneur can reach out to the CISO of Fiverr for an advice on, market validation. He can reach out to an investor because they went together to the IDF to reach out to understand how he should invest or how he should raise money. And he can reach out to the academy to get a technology validation. And everyone are super supportive, which I think really creates the strength behind this unique ecosystem.
Great, thank you. I can identify with every word that you said. Would you like, Lior, to add your perspective about the Israel kind of unique value?
There's not much left after Nofar's coverage of it, but I think another part of what we have, which is interesting, is our location. Our location and the fact that we are open to the East and the West, to Europe and APAC and the US, where many other companies, especially small ones, talking about the big multinationals, so they have everything everywhere and that's okay. But the smaller ones, the startups, the companies that are creating these changes, the companies that are actually leading the innovation, in many other countries, they are the smaller ones, the medium sizes, they are local and they are exposed to their local market. Most of them don't, go and work with, such wide global customers as Israeli companies. Part of it is because the fact that we are in the Middle East, and part of it is probably because, we are practically an island. We have no, the direct neighbors that we can trade with. So we need to, get on a plane and travel. That's so 2019 travel, huh? But we need to get on a plane and travel to meet a customer. So what's the difference flying to Europe or Asia or Middle East or Australia? It's a few more hours. So we're used to do that. While European companies do it less, US company, they do it less. So I think the other thing that we bring in on top of our culture and innovation and the fact that we have this mesh of people and internal connection between them is the fact that we can impact. Our impact is much wider than our real size. A small company in Israel can support and usually do customers in Japan, in the US, and in multiple countries in Europe. And it's for us, it's like natural. That's what we do. Other companies, to get to that level, need to be 10 times bigger.
Yeah. Great. So Looking at the time, I have still more a collection of questions, but this is what the time allows us on this session. It was really so interesting to hear you and to get your experience and kind of views. So thank you so much for our panelists, Nofar Mikam, Professor Yuval Alovich, and Lior Frankel. It was a great pleasure, and please, you are invited to stay with us. Roy, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yaniv and the panelists. I want to remind you of Jeff Bezos, who once said that I knew that if I failed, I would not regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. So I would now like to welcome to the stage 3 people who are daring greatly, and so far they seem to have no regrets at all. Those 3 Israeli audacious entrepreneurs will tell us in just 5 minutes each, that's important, about their startups and how they will change the world for the better. I'd like to start with Mr. Itai Mao, Chief Security Officer of Insights. Itai, please join us on our virtual stage to explain how we can obtain a more granular view of the cyber threats at our door. Please.
Hi, just making sure you can hear me because my camera doesn't seem to work.
We can hear you.
Thank you for having me here. So I'd like to introduce Insights. Insights is a cyber threat intelligence company. Our goal is pretty simple, actually. We want to simplify threat intelligence with the most comprehensive and flexible threat intelligence solution. The idea is to have a holistic all-in-one platform, and that's what we provide, specifically focusing on the holistic portion, as I'll talk about in a couple of minutes. What we do is we have proprietary collection and classification capabilities where we go into different resources, being clear open source intelligence, clear web, deep web, dark web, social media, any resource that we can find, P2P connections, things like WhatsApp, Discord, whatever it would be, to collect threat intelligence about our customers and what criminals are thinking and doing in order to target them. Also, an important element of what Insights does is a simple and intuitive platform to control this, where you won't need a team of highly trained professionals in order to run the platform. The platform itself is pretty self-explanatory. A couple of words about Insights really quickly. We were founded in 2015. Our headquarters is in New York, but we have offices obviously in Tel Aviv, Boston, Dallas, Amsterdam, Singapore, and Tokyo. Currently over 300 customers with around $70 million in funding. Most of our investors are also our clients, which I think is a good sign as well. Let's talk a little bit about threat intelligence, because I go to a lot of conferences and I hear this word being used a lot with a lot of different platforms and a lot of different capabilities. So what Insights offers is a holistic solution, meaning we look into multiple resources, we collect information, we enrich the data. The platform itself has what we call Threat Command, which is where our customers find their tailored intelligence that applies specifically to them. We have a TIP, Threat Intelligence Platform, where we aggregate and enrich IOCs and other indicators, and we also allow for attack mapping and visualization. And we have a VRA, which is a vulnerability risk analyzer that really helps with prioritizing patching of critical vulnerabilities. These are just some of the capabilities that we have within the platform. But one of the more important things for me personally as a former researcher, or still a researcher, I'm the Chief Security Officer, is the ability to act upon these types of threats. If you're familiar with the OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act, well, you also have to act. And so the platform allows for integrations with a lot of different capabilities, including endpoint, source, SIM, email, firewall, email gateways, I mentioned before, vulnerability management, to really help our customers not just prioritize, but act upon these different alerts and sources. In addition, we're not just a platform. We also have services. So if we, for example, identify a phishing email or a phishing website, or if we identify a VIP of a company which is being masqueraded on one of the social media, we offer the capability to our customers to actually reach out to our analysts and ask for a takedown. So it's not just threat intelligence, it is proactive capabilities that allow our customers to take action and close that OODA loop with the act at the end. I'd also want to quickly mention in regards to cyber threat intelligence that whenever I talk about cyber threat intelligence, I have to mention that it's an art. And art being the acronym of being actionable, reliable, and timely, which are the three pillars for any types of intelligence. And so this is the core capabilities offered through our collection, analysis, and dissemination in our platform. I think I did this extremely fast, but I hope you have a good idea of what Insights offers and the platform and the services that come with it.
Thank you, Itai. And now, Mr. Amir Leventhal, CEO of Silos. We know that transportation systems are still considered a highly tempting target for cyber terrorists and hackers. So, Mr. Leventhal, please tell us how Silos will help counter these threats.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Amir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Silos. We founded the company in early 2017. Prior to that, I served for 22 years in the Elite Technological Unit, and Yaniv had a panel that described how startups are being built in Israel. So we are typical startup, people from the Israeli Defense Forces, building capabilities in new technologies that are deep tech, very challenging. And actually what we do is we are solely focused on the rail industry. We help rail companies to protect their networks against cyber attacks. And the reason why we started or founded this company right after retiring from the military service is because that we found that the rail industry has overgone a new or integrated new technologies within the systems that allow the center to control the trains and that they will be able to become autonomous trains. So as opposed to cars, that all the cars make the decision by themselves, the cars are driving in heterogeneous environments with bicycles, people, pedestrians, and so on. In the rail system, the trains are moving in isolated environment, and because of that, it's easier to control the trains from the center. Once you control the trains from the center to make them autonomous, practically you must have wireless communication between the center and the trains. So and it's obvious that once the wireless communication has been introduced to the rail industry, the cyber threat emerged. So this is what we founded. This is what we saw in the rail industry in early 2017. We didn't find any other company that deal with this threat, and we were looking for what's the real pain of the rail companies. And usually, as opposed to other industry, in the rail industry, they are solely focused on safety and availability. Safety for rail companies is the most important thing. CEO of a rail company won't continue in his role if there will be safety incidents or if the trains won't come on time. So availability and safety, but safety is the most important thing. And once you connect the center to the train, allow to the center to control the trains, and attackers might be able to control trains, they might impact the safety and of course availability. So this is the main pain of the rail industry, and we provide a solution to help them to manage this threat. And the way we do it is by monitoring the environment, the network. We provide continuous security monitoring for the unique system of the rail industry. The systems of the rail industry are totally different from any other industry. The manufacturers are different, the technology is different, the communication is different. we allow them to detect malicious activities within the network. And once they detect, we provide them actionable insights on how to mitigate this threat. So as I mentioned before, we founded in early 2017. We have customers in Europe, and the main hub of the rail industry is in Europe. In Europe, Asia Pacific, specifically in Australia and other regions in APAC and the US market. We are part of the rail ecosystem in these regions. It's very important when we come to customers, when we meet customers, we don't only speak about cyber, we speak about rail and cybersecurity. We speak in their language to understand their business logic, to understand what are their needs, real needs, first of all in rail and then in cybersecurity, and we combine them together. So this is the uniqueness of providing a specific solution for a vertical. We have some other companies in Israel that are focusing in verticals, and by the way, mainly verticals that we don't have in Israel, like automotive, airplanes, and trains. So we have, but not so much. And we solely focus on that. We deal with that, and the market is huge. The opportunity is huge. Currently, we are the category leader in this domain, and yeah, and that's all. Yeah, you want this.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leventhal. And now, last but definitely not least, Mr. Eli Cohen, CEO of TrustPeers. We look forward to hearing about TrustPeers' incident response flow management platform and learn how it can help CISOs worldwide in their work. Amaze us.
Yeah, thank you very much. So my name is Eli Cohen, and I'm the co-founder of TrustPeers. We develop a unique end-to-end, all-in-one solution to handle cyber major incidents. It is an innovative and a comprehensive platform, which is machine learning algorithm and deep competence of cyber response methodologies out of the box as part of our solution. Just imagine Joe. Joe is the chief officer of an online retail company, getting a call at 3 a.m. From his SOC operator saying to them, inform him that there is a denial of service attack on the website, and also some alert of suspicious traffic in the network. Now, 9 out of 10 in this situation, organization are not prepared to handle the major cyber incident, and this is because of lack of technologies, methodologies, lack of expertise, and so on. And this is exactly where TrustPeers is providing the 360 coverage for the incident response as a SaaS platform. We handle the whole life cycle of the incident itself, from the preparation part through the practice. Is the first platform which allows to practice incidents response in the same place where you prepare and plan for those incidents. And we have the response model, which is, as I mentioned, is based on machine learning with Trust Advisor that recommends what will be the next recommended move in order to mitigate the cyber incident itself. The last technology that we develop is the post-mortem model, which analyze the incident itself and bring insight for the future incident which are expected to be in the organization. What we saw in the market is that there are a lot of, as I mentioned, there's a lot of need for technology which will help the organization to handle the cyber attacks. We know that the average cost for cyber incident is $13 million. So we know that cyber incident is something that when it hits you know that you will invest whatever it needs in order to mitigate this. And what we bring to the table is the full suite in order to make sure that we will cut the mean time to response to repair, what is called the MTTR. And of course, we will help to comply with all the regulations which are around the incident response. TrustPeers was founded in 2019, and we are now in a beta stage, and I welcome you all to contact us and try our amazing platform. Thank you.
Thank you. So, this has been a most fascinating and highly condensed hour, filled with data, information, knowledge, insights, inputs, testimonials, and signing for data that you can find. I'd like to thank all our guests and conclude by inviting, for the third time in a single hour, Dr. Yaniv Harel of the GM Cyber Solutions team in Dell Technologies to close this hour. Take it away, Yaniv.
Great, thank you very much. I would like to thank first Val to let us to have the Israel hour on this CFF summit. I would like to thank the CFF team, Kalor, Lee, and others. I would like to have a great thank to Timmy that actually led all the preparations, to lead our talented Roy, the moderator of the event, and all the speakers. And last but not least, I would like to thank all the audience and the people that joined this hour. We hope to see you here on this summit, but later on in Israel, to learn and to explore more the innovation, the capabilities, the industry, and the people in Israel. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and have a great summit.
Great deal. 2 thumbs up. Really nice job. Thank you, Yaniv. Thanks, team. Thank you all for joining us. We wrap up this hour with great, I think, motivation from all that we heard here. So thank you again. We'll go back to the next hour, and we'll stay connected. Happy to meet you all here. Thank you. Great job, really.
Great.